Prissy Patricia paid pennies for pizza. Beautiful Brittany briefly bought bagels. Slutty Samantha sucked silly sailors. MILF mother milked Matimio. Do you not do your vocal warm-ups before the show, Matt?
No.
Oh,
I was like, why are these getting randier and randier?
I'm just trying to get my vocals ready so I don't make any, slip-ups during the podcast. Yeah. I mean, just, your average vocal warm-ups, as you will. Yeah.
No, it's good.
Welcome to the Level with Me.
Keep 'em limber.
Thank you. Welcome to the Level with Me podcast, where myself, Matimio, will be talking about games, life, exciting things that we do on daily basis. It is beautiful and sunny outside. I know you sleep during the day, Matt, so I just thought I would inform you that the weather is fantastic.
It is actually beautiful today. It is a stunning day. Finally, we're getting some good weather.
Yeah, and I know this podcast is like 90% weather, but man, when it goes from winter to spring, it's a big deal around here. Okay,
it's been pretty gloomy. All right, people.
Do you see the background? All right, there's raining. All right, this is what 90% Pacific Northwest
looks
is.
Like that.
Yeah. Like, oh, what is it? Yeah. So I saw the sun today. It was warm, somewhat unpleasant on the eyes. It's like Yeah, man. So what you been playing? I played a fishing simulator this week. That was exciting.
That is exciting. I finished off Dragon's Dogma 2, and it was fun, but a lot of people are starting to, it's got a bit more of a mixed reception now, and I'm starting to understand why.
Well, that's a shame. Man, I would hate to be the game that comes out, a fantasy game that comes out anytime within a year of Baldur's Gate 3. You need almost like 2 years for people to forget just what that game was. And then they're like, hey, you guys want to play a fun open world fantasy game? And they're like, well, but I mean, Baldur's Gate. I mean, how are you going to top that? And they're like, oh, no.
The game is enjoyable, and I'm glad that I played it. But there's just a distinct lack of enemy variety. Like, you fight the same damn wolves and goblins mixed up in.
So that didn't change at all. We talked about that a little really last podcast.
No,
okay.
No. Did I talk about the quests and how bad they were?
You did. You know what we didn't talk about, and I'm curious about because I have seen the memes. Is there like some big-breasted dragon lady thing?
No. Not that I saw.
Oh, well, you missed probably the best. This is why you mixed review from Matt.
Sphinx. It's a Sphinx.
Okay, whatever. I don't.
Okay, that's not a dragon. There's a very big difference between a Sphinx and a dragon, my good sir.
All right. I got to get my D&D guidebook out or whatever over here.
You do.
Okay. Yes. I just saw that and I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, so because the game kind of just ends, and you know how there's like a lot of new, like once you beat the game, a lot of times for open world, especially with there's a lot of quests and stuff like that, you have the option like, do you want to do a new game plus, or do you want to go back and like, do the quests that you missed? This doesn't have that. It's just like, oh, you're committed now. Like, it's the end of the game.
Game over. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. So I wasn't able to go back and do more of her quests and stuff, but yeah, I think you can fight her too.
Can you go to an old save file or something?
Nope. So
what?
The game, there's no save files that you can like swap between. There's either recent save or save from an inn, and that's it. The game tries to do some interesting things where your choices matter, which I think is fine because I like a game that it like commits you to not being able to save scum all the time. But that doesn't negate the fact that there's like bugs that will happen where a quest will glitch out or your game crashes or anything where you want to go back to a previous save where things weren't scuffed up, and you just don't have that option. So
that's super weird. Like I didn't play the game, but you saying that once it's over, it's over.
So you can do a new game plus, but you have to start over from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was irked by the way Starfield handled it, but at least Starfield, you can just be like, well, I'm just gonna not do this, and I'm just gonna keep. You don't have to do the new game plus. It's just an option. You can still continue on with your character and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting for a fantasy game, especially one that's open world and is like explore all the side quests and do all this stuff. And it's like before you beat the game, otherwise you can't.
Granted, I was kind of okay with just ending because I did like the game, but I felt like by the end I was like, all right, I'm good. Thank you for your time. I had I enjoyed myself, but at least in its current implementation, a lot of people are hoping that there's going to be a Dark Arisen DLC expansion like the original game had, where it fixed a lot of the problems that the original game did. And the critique that people are making right now is that this feels like Dragon's Dogma 1, but with updated graphics. And they were hoping that it was going to be actually, because the creator, the director, was really touting that this was like finally his creative vision because they weren't limited by budget. But then a lot of the same problems that occurred in the first game are now in this one. It's like, what's going on?
He had to hype it a bit because
maybe.
I mean, again, you're going up against that Baldur's Gate 3, baby. Like
maybe
they set the standard. It's like you're making a Grand Theft Auto game and then GTA 6 drops and you're like, how do we get people to buy our game?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do?
If they were trying to do something like Baldur's Gate, I don't think they were. But man, there was a quest that I did just real quick where you need to stealth into the city into the castle to save someone from a cell. And there's guards around and there's no stealth mechanic.
Save silly Samantha from a cell.
Yes. Sorry. No. And there's guards walking around and you literally just walk up to the cell and you talk to him and then you open the cell and still nothing. The guards don't do anything. And then you talk to him for a while. And then when you try to leave, then they accost you. It's like, what in the world is even going on?
Like, I mean, that's very early 2000s era game, right?
Yes.
Where you don't expect the NPCs or AI to react in a real world way to you. But it doesn't so much fly in 2024 when you've got games like Cyberpunk where you're like, is this real life? And then the NPCs are just like totally unaware of you chopping off people's heads like 5 feet away from them, like, good day, sir.
Good day, mate. What's all that blood
drenched in
there,
blood.
Sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that there's like multiple quests over and over and over and over again where you need to stealth into the castle. And there's just no stealth mechanic, and it's just silly. Like it was pretty rough. So, yep, I had fun. I'm glad I beat it, but I can see why people are getting a little disappointed with the game overall. Yeah.
So you're kind of in the mixed. You're right down the middle of like it was
I'm more
fun.
on the positive side because I think that it is what is the phrase? The whole is better than the sum of its parts, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. No, I'm
perfect.
I'm more on the positive side.
Fun, but not a flawless game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yep. Cool. Did you see Marvel's new super innovative
Overwatch 3?
I didn't. I thought I was looking at an Overwatch Marvel like sort of content
crossover.
Yeah. I thought they were doing the Overwatch or the Fortnite thing where they bring in the characters. So Marvel Rivals is the name of the game. They dropped the trailer for their new, I think it's 5v5 or 6v6 hero-based action shooter. And it looks exactly like Overwatch. Not even
even the aesthetic itself looks like Overwatch.
Yeah, it's basically like the art director was like, make it kind of like Overwatch, and then the artist did something slightly like Overwatch, and he's like, no, exactly like Overwatch. The UI, it looks the same. It's insane. I can't believe, like, did Blizzard just sign a deal where they're like, here, give us a couple mil and we can just copy the likeness of your game? Because it really is copying the likeness. That is like a legal thing in this country. If you copy the likeness of something else, you can get sued. And I'm like, this is as close as you can get to, I mean, I had to watch it for a good 20 seconds before I was sure that it wasn't actually Overwatch. I was like, wait, is this playing the wrong trailer? Like, I see that it's Marvel's, but I think they're playing Overwatch. So it must be Marvel skins in Overwatch.
To their credit, like the characters and stuff aren't as like soft, if that makes any sense. Overwatch kind of has
the voiceovers kind of are though. The voiceovers are in the same exact vein where it's just like You know,
it's Overwatch. I mean, literally, it's trying to be Overwatch. It's not even trying to. It's not trying to hide it. It is the game.
Let's ignore the fact for 1 second that it is a complete clone of Overwatch, like complete clone.
Yeah,
it's like 6 years too late, man. Like,
so that's the thing is, I still think there's a ton of people playing Overwatch. I know everyone likes to harp on it, but like, it's still a popular game, and. Also, game development takes a long time.
Yeah.
So my guess is they saw the success of Overwatch and they're like, we should do something similar. And now it's just taken a long time to develop said game. And now Overwatch has kind of dwindled. I mean, it's Blizzard's fault. Let's be real. Like, I think if they handled it differently, it would have been more successful. But yeah, no, I hear you.
This is just AAA game dev in a nutshell, when they're just like so non-innovative, so unwilling to take any risk. Risk.
Well, I mean, that is a bigger discussion, because there's been a lot of talk lately about how like games are so expensive now, and it's getting to the point it's like they don't want to take any risks because it costs so much money.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, and I also, to a degree, defend the bigger studios in that, if you're going to drop $100 million on a game, like, you don't want to be like, I hope this is a good idea, you know? Yeah. At the same time, from my brain, I go, man, I got 20 ideas that I think would be a great game that, if they had the right amount of time and attention behind it, would almost certainly at least make the development cost back, if not a decent amount of profit beyond that. But it seems like they just don't have any faith in the game developers. I think the game industry needs more of almost a movie director type vibe, because the movie directors, they're not fronting the money for their movies. They're getting investors to do it. But you got guys like Inception director, what's his face? Christopher Nolan. You know, like people will invest money because he's this visionary guy and he's got weird ideas. But in the game industry, we don't take risks like that. We don't put all this, because it takes hundreds of millions of dollars to make a movie like that. Mm-hmm. And there's people willing to risk it. There's a lot more risk, I feel, in the film industry. And then in the game industry, we don't have these figureheads as much. I mean, we do have well-known game developers and stuff that can pull that in, but it's less than the movie industry, where they're putting all this time and money and faith behind a director or a project idea that's kind of out there and kind of wild. And I think we need more of that in the game industry, where some crazy game developer whose last game was an indie game, but it was a huge hit, is like, I need $100 million to make this crazy game, and a couple studios
we did get that
him.
Recently with Helldivers. Helldivers 1 was a top-down, smaller base thing. It got 6,000 concurrent on Steam. That was their highest, and now they're one of the biggest. And then they just basically pivoted to a larger scale, but still relatively small in terms of like development. I don't think it was as crazy.
Yeah, it's like a AA game, right?
And that's actually kind of what I wanted to get to, is maybe we should just have more AA. You know, why does everything got to be AAA? I think you can
do more AA now, where I would argue that Gray Zone Warfare, that kind of super realistic jungle one, is like AA, because I think they have around 70 to 80 developers, which is not small, but I think that's kind of like high end of AA scene to a degree. And I think you can just get a lot done with that kind of team nowadays because of the engine tools and all that stuff. A lot of the work's already done for you. If you're going to make a shooter game, you can practically download a shooter game template and just kind of start from there, as opposed to like, oh, are we going to create Sky? You know, it's like, just drag the Sky into the level. What are you talking about? You know, it's like, it's all made for you in most modern game engines now. So I think you can just get a lot further nowadays and make it look a lot better. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that a lot of big people in the industry have been basically predicting and saying that the AAA industry is going to have some major overhauls. Speaking of which, there's been a lot of companies that have been, I won't say let go, but have switched ownership or gone independent. Two major ones in the last week were which companies? We have Gearbox,
which is big.
They've been around forever. They've done a lot of really good ports over the years, but they're probably most well known for Borderlands. Yeah. They left Embracer Group and I think are now acquired by 2K or partnered with 2K or something like that. But big shift up here. We don't normally see a lot of studios being traded between major investors like this. They either just like dissolve them or something, but they're trading stuff up now. Relic just became independent. I think they are under Sega, which is interesting because I mean they've got that Space Marine game coming out pretty soon, which looks really cool.
Oh, that's them?
I think it's them, or they're involved in it in some way. Because they did, I think they're Age of Empires, Company of Heroes, 40K, Dawn of War, and then I think Space Marine is also Relic, but yeah, you might have to catch me on that one if I'm wrong.
I'm not sure. Space Marine.
But that game looks really cool. So to see them become independent, it is that, to see them become... Well,
they had, so Warhammer 40K third person was developed by Relic, the original one. I don't know about that Space Marine. Let me see, Space Marines 2. Focus Entertainment. So it might be under a different banner this time.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
It's okay.
Yeah, I saw that they had a credit for Space Marine. But anyway, yeah, it's just interesting to see these companies like gain their independence. And I'm sure this has to do with the whole industry shakeup of them laying off tons of people and needing to like dissolve companies or just make money somewhere or reduce the yearly bill and all that kind of stuff. But this could kind of be a little bit of a precursor to a much bigger... I don't think it's all going to happen at once. It's just going to happen slowly over the next 5 to 10 years probably. But I think we're going to start seeing less AAA stuff. I think the game industry is going to start operating a little bit more like the film industry, right? Where there will be some big blockbuster films, but they're not going to be as much as there was before. And a lot of it's going to go into like more interesting projects, or a lot of these projects now, especially in the film industry with improved graphics effects and stuff like that, they can get a lot more done on a much smaller budget these days, you know? So I think we're just going to see a lot of that. AA.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is just a random thought. Do you think that there are, so obviously AAA games are struggling, and there's some that do push through and they become the biggest games of the year, the big blockbusters. But do you think the reason why a lot of these AAA companies are not successful because there's so many AAA games at $70 and the market's too saturated? People are like, I'm not going to spend $70.
100%. It's market saturation. Like, I didn't go to GDC this year, but I was reading a couple articles and some of them were like, just the mood at GDC was pretty dour, and that there were so many games in production and so many studios that were struggling and so many people that were like, yeah, we got a cool game, but like, how do we get recognized? Every day, like 1,000 games are launched, you know, and like a lot of them are pretty decent. So it's just this crazy market saturation at the moment, and that one figure that the studios don't account for is limited time, right? So if 2 great games come out, a lot of people aren't going to play both of them. They'll pick one, you know, and the other one will just be like, oh yeah, that was cool. And then a little more time goes by and they'll be like, yeah, but it's not the new hot thing anymore, right? There's going to be another new hot thing coming out soon. So I'll just save my money for that new hot thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of happened with Dragon's Dogma and Rise of the Ronin. And they literally came out at the same time. And
and I'm like, Rise of the what?
Rise of the Ronin?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is like I barely even heard about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It sucks, but the industry will correct itself. It's just not going to be a fun correction for a lot of people. Especially considering how long game development takes, too. Yeah, man.
We might not see these course corrections for years, or, you know, all this might be down the road kind of a thing.
Yeah, there could be people
not just in the next 6 months.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of studios that are 2 years, 3 years into development, and they're going to spend another year on it and then get canceled from this point on. And it's like, that's rough, you know, just to think about how much time and effort goes into these projects. But the big studios, they just see the writing on the wall. They're like, oh crap, it's going to cost us this much money to finish this game. And this is how much we think we're going to make. Let's just cut our losses now, you know, and then just thinking about the developers and the artists and all the people that sink all that time and effort and passion into projects like this, because game dev is a lot of work. It's a lot of like, once you get into it, you're like, oh, this is a passion industry. This isn't like I was smart, I went into game development. It's like, no, you better really like making games if you go into game development, because it's going to be long hours, hard work. You can
make good money, but you're also going to be, you could have made better money in another industry and not worked as hard.
Yeah, I always think about that, honestly. I'm like, man, if I put in the same amount of effort that I have with YouTube and other stuff in other fields, I'm like, damn, I'd be doing pretty freaking good right now. Yeah, it's just, but you got to be passionate about it, right? Like, I don't think I could be this passionate about accounting or something, like, oh man, we got a big account today. Like, no, it's not my jam.
Right.
So I get it. People are attracted to the fun jobs, and then those job markets get saturated, and then that job sucks for a lot of people because they're like, well, there's so much competition. We can't get paid well enough, and whenever we launch a game, it doesn't do well. But for the consumer, it's pretty good overall.
Pretty nice.
A lot of good games.
So going back to Overwatch 3, I mean, the Marvel Rivals, they are doing some things that are different.
Oh, yeah. Did you get into it?
They are bringing in destruction.
Okay. I did see that.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's not a new thing in terms of...
No.
Yeah, they're just like, what if it was Overwatch 2 in every single way, but you could break statues? And it seemed like they also had
like synergy abilities too, where...
Yeah. Rocket.
They had characters that were like doing like ultimates together or something. I don't know how. Who knows? But it looks like they had some sort of synergy play style where you could enhance your buddy's ability somehow.
I'll give them a little bit of credit there, but it's hard when just how much of it they ripped off, because if you're like, if your game plan is rip off Overwatch completely and then you come up with 3 new ideas, I mean, I'm not going to be impressed by that, right?
Right.
Like, come up with a new style and new everything, and then come up with some new innovations as well. Don't just copy and innovate 2 things.
I hear you. But at the same time, how much can you actually innovate in an FPS game? Like, truly, at this point. What can you do to truly innovate?
Well, okay, I'll give you an example.
Hit me with it.
In that, I'm not going to give you too many specifics, but when I was deciding what kind of game project to work on, I made about 4 different game design docs that were different types of games. Some of them were shooters. I ended up going the space game route, but I didn't do the shooter thing because it was too much time and whatnot. But I did come up with a couple shooter projects that I was like, nobody's tried this before. Like, it is
all right.
Similar in genre and vein to other games, but with a pretty big twist on it that either borrows from other genres or I think you can take a lot of modern genres and look at old genres that people aren't playing anymore, take weird RTS stuff or weird ancient action RPG stuff and morph it in, or take a weird component. And I think there's a lot of that has not been tapped into yet, because every couple of years a game comes out and everybody's like, whoa, why didn't I think of that? And it's like, I think there's a lot of that still out there. And if you really sit down and think about it, you will find some options. And you're like, well, this is a great idea. I mean, it would take a big dev team to accomplish this great idea, but it's not undoable. It's a cool concept, and I know this would be successful. And I just don't get the, hey, let's just do that, but with Marvel characters approach.
I also don't think, I'm not trying to really defend. I mean, I am, but I just think it's really difficult, even though you were quite vague. So I'm going to have to take your word on it. The idea, because really the way you interact in an FPS game is to shoot. Right. That's your interaction. Right. And there's only so many ways to be able to change that up. And we've seen that with Doom, gives you like different types of weapons, right, that all have different roles. Like Doom, I feel like does a great job of actually mixing up the gameplay so that it does feel different every single time.
I would argue Call of Duty, that in this shooter stuff, you're right. People don't really want too much innovation in that. They don't want to jump into a shooter game and be like, whoa, what are these controls? I don't understand it at all. They want that familiarity and that comfort. But you can do stuff with the world. We got new game engines and new tech coming out all the time. procedural content generation to make the levels do weird stuff and never play the same map over again, or the map gets modulated in interactive dynamic ways where it's like you're playing Dust 2, but now it's Dust 2 that's overgrown with ivy, and I don't know, like you could do modify, you can come up with all these ideas that's being done in modern game engines to change the game in other ways, right? You got your environment, you got your game modes, you've got interactivity with other players, you've got all these new things that are becoming cooler and cooler in modern game engines that can be injected into the shooter genre without having to say,
that's fair,
reinvent a grenade and an assault rifle. Like, I mean, those are probably always going to be the same for until the end of time. And people don't really want that reinvented for the most part. They want that comfort, you know?
I hear you.
Yeah. I just think the AAA space is too scared to do that stuff. And they don't have enough faith in people with good ideas, you know? And what sucks the most about it, and this is like a gripe I really have, is that I think the young people coming into the game industry to become developers, those are the people with the best ideas. It's why the indie scene is coming out with all the coolest stuff. And the AAA scene doesn't respect the young upstarts. They got to pay their dues. Well, you got to work for 10 years at a major studio before you get to a position where you're making decisions or could possibly convince a higher up to go with your game idea for the next project. And
I mean, we were literally just talking about it. They don't want to take any risks. So of course they're not going to go with it.
Yeah.
But ironically, because they're not taking any risks, then their game is just average because they've already played that game before. So why would they want to play this one? And it struggles.
And you got all these young people with their finger on the pulse of what's happening in modern games, right? They're like, this is what I love to play, but wouldn't it be great if this was better? And then you got the old game developers who like log on once a week, you know, and play chess or something, you know, and just like add a touch. I'm obviously generalizing.
I don't know
like
if you want to
crazy.
insult all the veteran developers.
I'm gonna insult them. I'm gonna generalize the shit out of them, but I don't know. I've been in big studios. I've seen it happen. It's just, it irks me when I'm like, hey man, like you got half the team here that's got better ideas than the people leading it, you know? You're not pulling from the right talent pool. Anyway, those are that's my angsty take on the game industry. Yeah.
I like it.
Oof, I need to cool off. With some Star Citizen, baby.
All right, hit me with another update. What happened this time?
I'll keep it short and simple. Okay. Star Map being tested by players in Evocati. Beautiful. They can talk about it. It's cool.
Great.
Animals coming in the next patch. Creatures, weird pterodactyl things, four-eyed saber-toothed tiger creature things that crawl around on planets.
Oh, actual, like, okay, awesome.
Yeah, they just teased them in a trailer and they said, like, come in 3.23. And I'm like, what? Ooh. So, I mean, this patch that I keep hyping up and saying it's going to be the biggest content patch of all time, every week or two, they're like, also this. And you're like, come on, guys. Like, can we just get the first 20 things you talked about?
Nope.
Make sure those are working. You're like, no, we're going to bump it up to 35 new things. And you're like, okay. I hope it works, but
hopefully
I hear it's getting better. Like, it's been some rough testing for people, but each increment it's slightly better.
Good.
Yeah. I'm excited.
It's actually nice to hear that there's going to be animals and stuff, because the world feels so, like, when you go down in a world, it's like, well, there's trees and some ground and devoid of life.
Yeah. You're like, hello.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're like, this world looks amazing, and I feel
until
so
you land
alone.
on it.
Yeah.
Till you're on the actual ground.
No, that'll be cool to help it feel alive. I really want to be a game hunter in, a space game hunter.
That'd be cool.
That would be imagine like flying low and like you're in you open the cargo door on the side with a sniper rifle and you're like 5 meters to the right, and the pilot's got to like adjust. You're like taking the shot, take down the animal, and then you tractor beam its dead carcass up onto the onto the spaceship, and then you skin it. You take out your giant like Crocodile Dundee knife, and you just take off. Well, you Red Dead Redemption style, take the skin off, with the fully
crazy,
animated,
in detailed animations.
Yeah, that stuff made me sick after a while. I didn't want to skin animals. I was like, I feel bad. This is gross, man.
Yeah, it's hunting.
But that's what I want to do in Star Citizen. And they're gonna have like giant crab things.
You know what? No offense to you. I hope they never add that. That's just too much. There's too many games in one.
Wouldn't it be funny if like PETA protested that, where they're like, "Don't harm the space creatures" or something?
Wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Because they get angry when you have animal brutality in games and stuff. And it's like, well, what if it's fictional animal? What if it's space creature brutality? Where's that?
I mean, I'm sure they would get upset with that too.
It would be a funny protest, though. I would like to see that.
Would be. Anything else coming from there, or was that the gist?
I mean, there's tons of they demoed the new looting interface. Thank God.
I think I saw a picture of that on your Twitter.
Yeah, it's not like revolutionary, but if you've looted in Star Citizen before, it's like PUBG but way worse. If that makes sense. Yeah, it's like imagine PUBG, but every time you try to drag something, it just didn't work, and then you also had to open every single pack and piece of armor to see what was inside of it, and then dragging your armor onto your body, and your character would drop your backpack and do all this nightmare. It was the worst, is the worst, and has been the worst because they've been planning on just replacing it. And they're like, why fix this awful system?
Why adjust it? Yeah.
So yeah, the quick looting looks really good. Like you can just go up to a dead body, grab the mags in like 3 seconds, and then like you're good to go. Stay in the firefight type interface. So it looks solid. Like they're doing a good job, but they've also got an insanely large dev team. Like the people who did their character gen stuff, that team is like bigger than most indie studios, like so entirely.
That's ridiculous.
At CitizenCon, I think they talked about having like 20 plus people working on the hair. And I was just like, come on. I could make 4 games with that.
This is where
team.
your money's going to, Level Cat. When you buy those $1,000 ships, this is where it's going.
This is why people buy javelins, man. They want the pink hair, and now that they've got the character gen going up, all their weekly dev casts, their Inside Star Citizens, have like the worst looking characters you could ever imagine, because they're just, it's like some dude with a giant pink handlebar mustache and like green hair, and you're just like, oh God, what are you doing? But they're just showing what they can do.
Welcome to RPGs.
Yeah, it'll be funny because Star Citizen's kind of got this more serious tone to it. It's not hard sci-fi, but it's also not.
It's more hard sci-fi than, yeah, I hear you.
Hardish sci-fi. It's Battlestar Galactica-y.
It's going for more. It's a grounded reality.
Yeah, and everybody's going to be walking around with pink hair and banana suits in like.
I'm here for it.
Another year. Yeah, I am too. I'm all for it. It'll be fun. Are you going to make your character look like you?
Oh yeah, just like I did in. Oh, did I show you that?
No, in Dragon's Dogma?
I made Dragon's Dogma character look just like me. It was weird.
That's pretty cool.
It was really cool. I would be like playing. I was like, because like the back of my head, I was like, wait, that's my back of my head. And then I would turn around, there'd be a cutscene and be like, that's me. It was
How familiar are you with the back of your head, man?
I don't know. Like you've seen pictures of yourself. I don't know why I know the look of my back of the head, but I just do.
It's like, describe it. Do you remember that? Did you ever see the movie The Other Guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Where Will Ferrell's app, he's talking about like his app that never took off. He's called Faceback. He's like, yeah, you point the camera at somebody's face and it can show you what the back of their head looks like.
I don't remember that.
Mark Wahlberg's character is just like, why would you want that? Why would anybody want that? It's really funny. Anyway, I just thought of that. It's funny. So it's like, what do you know what the back of your head looks like, Matt? Why are you so familiar with that?
I spent so much time making my character, and yeah, it literally just looks like, and you could get glasses too. So I put glasses on my character. That took a while because you had to like actually unlock it in game, but it was eerie and it was neat. I've never done that before.
That's cool. Yeah, I want to see if how accurately I could get me in Star Citizen. And then if you do super accurate, it'll just be like we're hanging out together.
We're hanging out, yeah.
Who needs to hang out? Oh my God, this is gonna
Who
be
needs
like
to go
Ready
outside
Player
and just
One.
be with your buddies in game. Literally.
This is gonna be Ready Player One. Are they making a Ready Player 2 movie? I thought I read a headline about that.
I believe so.
First one kind of sucked. I don't know.
It was fine.
I thought it was.
I liked the glimpse into potential future. I thought it was cool.
I mean, I appreciate that they attempted to do it, but I
appreciate the attempt. I just think it sucked.
It annoyed me because I was like, did anybody in the entire studio crew ever try out actual VR? Because if you did, you'd be looking at the game world going, what are you doing? Like, you can't do... There's people running down the street.
That was my favorite. There was kids. There's literally like cars and there's kids running around with VR headsets on next to cars like in this. It's like, what are you doing? This is going to end in a disaster.
Nobody runs through the streets with their VR headset on playing a different game unless you have the Apple Vision Pro thing, whatever it's called. Then you do, but that would be augmented reality and not virtual reality.
Not virtual reality, right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So stupid. And then they've got him hanging on like cables in the back of that like van. And he's like, "Oh, I'm in the world." And you're like, "What is this setup? This looks horrible." Like nobody could move around and articulate properly in this janky ass.
Well, I mean, if like they are getting better with those moving platforms. Like I think you can now buy one actually where you can.
Yeah, you've been able to buy this for a while. I think they suck.
But I think they're getting better now too. So like that coupled with VR could be really cool. But I think
it's never going to take off, dude. Imagine.
I don't think so.
Look at the overhead.
Unless it gets just like walking, I don't think it'll take off.
Yeah, I think you're going to need Elon Musk's neuro chip
Neuralink,
to do it. Did you see the
I did. It's pretty incredible.
The guy who got the Neuralink thing, he said the first night or something that he got it, he stayed up all night playing Civilization 6 or something.
Yep.
Civ 6, is it 6 or 5, whatever they're on?
I think it is 6 now.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of cool because if you did have full computer articulation essentially, and I don't know if that guy has full, but watching the video of him operate a computer, I was like, he looks like he's going as fast as anybody else. So there's a guy that is a full quadriplegic that was the first neurochip.
I think it's
Neuralink patient. They gave him the chip, hooked it into a computer. He helped them develop the system for the best way to essentially use your brain to control a computer. And he was on there playing chess at the time, but basically he was playing a fairly complex RTS with his brain. And that's pretty badass, man.
Yeah, which is really awesome until we start getting ads in our brain.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite there. Well, I don't think it's hooked up to his vision set.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I get what you're saying.
The technology is incredible. Like the fact that someone who was not able to play a video game is now able to play Civilization 6. That is fantastic, and it's only going to get better from here. I'm just obviously the cynic in me is like, so it's now going to be Cyberpunk, and we all saw how Cyberpunk turned out.
I think Cyberpunk looks awesome. I would want to live in that world. You don't want to like hang out with chicks who are literally plastic.
I mean, I would love to hang out with Pan Am. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. Oh my God. I picked a female character and I couldn't sleep with her. I was so pissed off.
I mean, you can still hang out with her. Not everything has to be
simp, Matt. Come on, okay. You can still hang out with her. Just be your best friend. Friend.
Yeah, she's great. Not everything has to be about touching butts.
I would have given Cyberpunk a much higher rating had I been able to sleep with her, but I picked a female character because I was like, what, I'm going to mix it up.
Right? Judy's the other. She was the.
Yeah, and I didn't like Judy. She wasn't my type.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
I mean, I did do her, but I wasn't super all about it, Matt.
That's fair.
I was like, I'm just doing this because you're the only option I have.
Wow.
Great world building. Exactly.
You're settling, huh?
I was like, this open world where I can do anything except only sleep with this one chick that I'm not even into. Great. Fantastic.
Sounds like a you problem.
You didn't watch my Cyberpunk review? That's all it was a rant on the sleeping situations for 10
maybe
minutes.
I did. It was also like 5 years ago, so.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know if I did one. It's so long ago, dude. My brain is mush when it comes to the amount of YouTube content I've made over the years.
Yeah. No, I hear that. But yeah, the Neuralink is like, that's really cool. I'm glad it's working, and I hope it just gets better and better, and it opens up more opportunities for people that are, having those problems. And yeah, it's really, really cool.
Okay, well, if it gets super good to the point where people with Neuralink are like, they're doing everything better than other people. Yeah. Say they've got a little AI chip up there that's helping them calculate things and multitask and all this other stuff, and all of a sudden you're applying to a job and they're like, are you chipped, sir? Do you have a Neuralink? And you're like, no, I don't. And they're like, yeah. So we're noticing like across the board 100% efficiency improvement with people who have Neuralink. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hire you.
Oh, we're going full dystopian, and you're probably right.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Terrifying.
The gamers with Neuralink gonna kick your ass, man. You're gonna be like, I'm just gonna load up some
gamers are already kicking my ass.
They already have AI chips.
Let's be real. They're already slapping me around. They'll have to like distinguish between different lobbies. This is the Neuralink lobby. This is the average Joe lobby.
Yeah, I like it, man. I am terrified actually. I got two young kids, and I'm like, I got no idea what the future is going to be like for you guys. Good luck.
It's a slippery slope of what is possible, and it could be amazing, but could also cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think there was a recent interview with Elon who basically was just like, AI could be fantastic for humanity, but it could also kill us all. And it's like, great. He's also investing in AI research, which is...
Of course he is.
Common. Well, all the big companies are at this point.
All of them are.
Yeah. I'm bummed about Google's Gemini. Google's big AI. So they started off with Bard. That was their open language thingy thing to compete with ChatGPT. I think they might have launched it a little early or something. It feels undercooked. So they upgraded it to Gemini, and it's part of Google's like paid service. Basically, if you buy like cloud storage on Google, you get access to a bunch of other Google features, and Gemini is one of them. Yeah. And it's giving me a lot of bad info. Like I'll ask it a question and the answer is like absolutely incorrect. And I'm
just completely wrong.
Yeah, because I was using ChatGPT for a lot of just quick resourcing of facts and stuff. And I would have it source its facts, so I can look it up and make sure it's right. But it's just quicker than Googling a problem a lot of the time. And so I was like, I'll try it on Gemini, and it's like hit or miss with Gemini. And then they turned off the image generation thing, which I was enjoying for trying to like get some artistic inspiration for things.
I thought you were gonna go for reasons.
No, they turned off the adult. It's got safety adult content locks on it, Matt. I already tried. That was like the first thing. Literally the first line of code I wrote for it. I was like big, big boobs, and it was like, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. And I was like, damn it, what is AI even good for? This technology is worthless.
What do we come to?
No, Google turned off their AI image generation. Did you hear about why they did that?
Why? Because they don't have legal rights to all those, all that art or something?
Probably, but that actually wasn't it. Basically, somebody posted a tweet or something about this. They typed in, show me a picture or render an image of a German soldier from 1943. And it started doing all these German soldiers, like Nazis essentially, but some were black, some were Native American, some were Asian. And it was just like, and of course it made waves because they're like, well, it's nice to be inclusive. However, and Google, being a giant soulless corporation, was like, well, the best way to save face and shares is to just nuke the whole thing.
Shut it down.
I was like, I was using it briefly for stuff, and it wasn't terrible as long as you didn't ask it to show you historically accurate photos of people from different times. But that one just cracked me up so much because I don't think anybody's actually offended. It's just funny to a degree because you're just like, oh, obviously AI is woke programmed from Google. And then it's like, here's your inclusive German soldiers from World War II. Very funny. Their stock went down and their AI thing is getting its butt kicked by ChatGPT as far as I know. So,
bro, I love the dumb. People just need to get off the internet.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I don't think anybody actually cared. It just made headlines.
No, I think people care. Literally, you know what people are arguing about right now in video games? Have you heard what people are arguing about online?
I mean, I've heard arguments.
Are video game characters too attractive or unattractive? That is literally they're yelling at each other that these characters are too hot or they're too ugly. That's where we're at in society
play the games with the characters that you like, right? Like, just what's that one where you're playing she's wet and she's like a robot chick?
Stellar Blade.
Yeah, what that thing is just like, how far can we possibly get to having just a naked chick with big tits and ass?
Well, so that's literally where this discussion's coming from, is because IGN apparently was like, did the developers even do they even know what a lady looks like? And then
who made Stellar Blade? Let's see.
I don't know.
It's got to be an Asian company.
And apparently the character model is based off of a real woman. And so then everyone's like, see, this is what it's nonsense.
A real super smoking hot woman. I mean, that's what we do in our movies too, though, right? Is like we pick super hot.
There's nothing wrong with having smoke shows and hot people. I like looking at hot people too, but
it is pretty gratuitous. You're just like, we know what you're doing here. You're like, if the gameplay is not that good, there's hot chicks.
The gameplay apparently is pretty great.
Yeah. All right.
I'll probably check it out for reasons other than what you think. Because it does look like a fun game.
For reasons. Trying to figure out who made it.
But that's literally the internet argument right now is, are characters too attractive or are they too ugly? It's like, this is what we're arguing about now? This is so stupid. It just feels so childish.
South Korean video game developer Shift Up Corporation.
That doesn't surprise me. They they're very you play a JRPG or something from Korea and they like beautiful. Every character's gorgeous.
Yeah. There's always somebody in a French maid outfit for some reason, and
actually. It's me.
It's always you. Here's a boomer question for you. What is up with the freaking streamers doing the weird anime cosplay maid outfit crap? There's like some character that's got a maid outfit or something.
I mean, it could just be cosplay. I guess I don't really know what you're referring to.
I've just seen it a bunch where I'm just like, what character are they doing? Because usually it's based off of a character, right?
I actually don't know what you're referring to, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah,
you're usually I'll have to do
some research.
Have you let your Crunchyroll subscription lapse, Matt?
I still watch Crunchyroll from time to time. Okay. I've been watching Frieren. Sorry, Frieren. My dyslexia kicked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a good show. I like it. What was I gonna say though? Oh, speaking of, Twitch did crack down on, like, they changed their TOS now where you can't focus on specific body parts anymore. So
no, man, that's all I did on Twitch. Come on. Those women who painted their breasts, I mean, they're very talented. Painters.
They are.
Very good painters.
So there was a new meta going around where people were using green screen booty shorts and they were using that as their monitor. Yeah. So that's no longer allowed. They banned that. Yeah.
The next one is green screen, like just
top.
Yeah, something. One of those workout tops that just hugs you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be little divots where the nipples are.
Jesus Christ.
They're gonna line up.
I didn't do that much research.
They're gonna line up their nips so it's like the crosshair on the center of the screen so they can use it to aim. It'll be the Tarkov crosshair, Matt.
Oh my God.
Why am I thinking of all these innovations here?
Why are you thinking about this?
Just got all the great depraved evolutions you can do on Twitch.
I mean, you could start the new meta. Though granted, I don't think you could do it on Twitch anymore. So unfortunately, that won't work. Yeah,
Kick though. Anything goes over there, baby.
Yeah, pretty much.
They have a Formula One car now, or they're co-sponsoring a Formula One team.
Oh, do they?
They are not doing well, and every time I see it, I'm like, good.
Good.
Good kick.
Wow.
I mean, I like their racers are fine, and the sponsors change every year or two anyway. But
yeah,
I mean, what the hell is Kick? It's just some casino dudes with a shitload of money trying to
unbelievable amount of money
trying to muscle their way into the streaming realm, and we'll see if it works.
I mean, I like competition, but I get very skeptical about stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to compete with Twitch.
Well, when you hear Twitch is struggling, and then you hear they've got no ads, and it's like they're giving great ad revenue to their content creators, which is fantastic. I think it's like 95-5 split for subs, which is incredidible.
Yeah,
but it's like how are you profitable?
I think
like,
YouTube takes like 50% of your subs or something. Maybe
50?
It's high. I can't remember. Don't quote me on
50%?
that.
50%.
Yeah. Well, that's why we don't. That's
insane.
Why when we were setting up the podcast, I remember looking at it and I was like, "Holy crap! Let's just do a Patreon because."
That's nuts.
Why give 50% to subscription fee thing? That's insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Those percentages, baby. Wanted to give a shout out to Doku, who is the solo developer on Out of Action. He funded his Kickstarter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think 113% funded, so he got a little extra cash at the end of it.
So is he hiring more people now, or?
No, I think that's just going to allow him to continue working full time, because he was doing it full time and funding himself with like some asset sales and stuff for 3D models he was doing for I think like PlanetSide 2 and some other stuff. Which is impressive that he was able to make that much off of asset sales, but I think he needed a little extra cash to keep going to finish the project. So people funded it. Excited about that one. Definitely going to check that one out when it comes out.
Cool.
The new Vostok update is out. I haven't gotten to check it out yet, but
oh yeah, I was like, okay, now I know what you're talking about. It's not Tarkov, but yeah,
it's it'd be more Stalker than Tarkov, really.
Yeah.
In that it's a single player game that looks very much like Stalker. He even has a little allude to it in the end of his trailer with the guy playing a harmonica by a campfire. But that's the guy. I like this guy because not only is he a solo dev making a game that looks really impressive for one person, it's just super ambitious, but he was developing it on Unity, and then after Unity was like, hey, we're going to nickel and dime devs for the cost of downloads now, which was a crazy plan. He dropped Unity and switched over to Godot, which is a totally free engine. He said it took him 500 hours to convert it into Godot. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of hours. So shout out to that dude too. I'm gonna check out his update probably next week. But yeah, it looks cool. It's coming along. It's got some nice new visuals for it. So if you like Stalker, but on a free-to-play engine and without alien paranormal stuff, I don't think there's paranormal stuff. And it looks like it's getting there.
You watch any shows?
An episode or two of Shogun, which was good. More death and horrible things happening.
I still haven't watched it yet, so I'll have to get on that.
Yeah.
Still best show of the year.
No, it's very good, but I mean, there's been some damn good shows, man. I mean, it's still Masters of the Air for me.
Okay.
But Shogun's solid. Like, I'm liking it more and more. They have a interesting scene with.
It just felt like when the first episode released, everyone was losing their mind and like, it's the best thing ever made. And I was
didn't quite get that. Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I just didn't quite get the insane hype for it. I was like, no, this is cool.
It was wild for the first couple of weeks there. Everyone was raving about it.
I guess if nobody had ever seen anything about feudal Japan before, you'd be like, what is this? This is so crazy. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of feudal Japan stuff, so it didn't blow my mind. I wasn't like
The Last Samurai.
Was that the anime one?
The Last Samurai was the one with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah. When Tom Cruise saves the samurai.
Yeah, saves the samurai. Yes.
I actually liked that movie. I thought it was
I love
fun.
that movie. Yeah. I unironically loved that movie.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because I was younger. I don't know, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in 10 years or however long
it's been a long time.
Yeah. The Blue-Eyed Samurai was good, but that was more fantasy.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, no, that one was solid. I grew up watching Kira Kurosawa movies. He did black and white. Seven Samurai is like one of his most famous ones. Hidden Fortress, that kind of stuff. And so it's all feudal Japan samurai stuff. Yojimbo. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've seen it all. This is a very good modern high budget production of feudal Japan stuff, and it's solid. I'm not knocking it. I just wasn't like, oh my god, everybody's got to watch Shogun. It's like if you've seen feudal Japan stuff, it's similar vein. Nice.
I finished off Three Body Problem, which was
the threesome show.
No, it's a sci-fi.
Yeah, but, you couldn't. You were trying to explain it to me last time, but couldn't because it would ruin everything.
Right. It literally goes from like it has like big grand ideas and he just kind of bounces between them. And then it just ends at the end. Like it just literally that's the end of the first season. You're like, there better be a season 2 because it's Netflix. So who knows?
Yeah. That's the worst.
So I enjoyed that, even if it did kind of peter out at the end and some of the characters were just whatever. Doesn't matter. And then I had the pleasure of watching a show called The Gentleman. Have you heard of The Gentleman?
I have heard of it. I have not seen it, but it was like
recommended it to me. And
huge
it's
budget
great.
movie. Yeah, I heard is it on Netflix or Apple?
Yeah, it's Netflix.
Netflix. I heard somebody dropped like $1 billion on like 3 big movies or something. It might have been Apple. I thought it was Argyle or something like that. That's what it was. Gentleman and Argyle seem like similar type movies, so I'm getting them mixed up. My bad.
The Gentleman's a show.
So it's a show. It's a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, it was based off of the movie, and they might be related. I didn't watch the movie. I have no idea, so I couldn't speak on that. But it basically follows a guy who a royal. He's a duke and a younger lad. He does voice acting as well. His voice is fantastic. I love his voice, and he basically gets roped into some criminal activity, and he has to try to navigate his way out of it. He basically inherits the criminal activity once his dad passes away. And it's sort of it's not like Breaking Bad, but kind of at the same time.
It's the
like
Duke
more lighthearted
version of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of describe what
period is it?
Oh, it's modern.
Oh, modern. Yeah, he's a modern Duke.
He's a modern Duke. Yes.
Oh, shit. I didn't even know we had Dukes still. I mean, I know we have some. I just figured they're pretty rare.
Yeah. So I would recommend it. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I'll check out The Gentleman. We've been sort of watching, Shogun and then still Monarch. So it's Monarch and Shogun. So when we finish one of those, I'll switch over.
Good.
Oh my God. I saw, it's funny because we're watching Monarch, and Monarch's, I wouldn't say it's a super serious show because it is ultimately Godzilla.
It's Godzilla.
Giant creatures at the end of the day. Mothra, you're like, how serious can we get with a giant moth? But it is trying to take itself somewhat seriously. And then before we watched Monarch, there, like, you know how your smart TV has like a trailer that pops up for something. It popped up the trailer for the latest King Kong Godzilla movie mashup, whatever it is. And King Kong's got like a robo glove, a robot fist. I don't know what it is. It just looks like the dumbest thing you can imagine. And I'm just like, well, you want to watch Monarch now? The show, like it'll give us the backstory as to why King Kong has a robot glove. You know, it's just that whole genre has become kind of. The movies have kind of become the Transformers type thing now, where it's just so ridiculous, over the top CGI stuff. And like, I kind of miss the more serious Godzilla stuff, where they're like, hey, what if Godzilla was a real thing and we really had to deal with it? I appreciate that more than like, let's have King Kong and Godzilla fist fight on top of aircraft carriers in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Which was a cool scene. It was neat to watch, but and then they like fly into the core.
I think it's fun when they take something that's outlandish, but then than actually ground it more in reality. It's like, what would you actually do in this situation? How would you survive?
Yeah, because otherwise I just fall asleep, right? Where if
I love world building like that. I actually find world building to be much more interesting when they actually like follow through with it. You remember the show? Do you ever watch the movie Quiet Place? Quiet
yeah.
Place? Mm-hmm. I really like that because it kind of showed like what they needed to do. Yes, there were some like things here and there, like why didn't they move to the waterfall and everything like that? But that's besides the point.
How did those things kill everyone? That was my question.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I hear you. So there were some issues, but I still think it's fun when they set a premise and then they build upon that premise and they actually, flesh it out with world building. And then, I that's my jam. I'm a big world builder kind of guy.
Yeah, I kind of want to see. I never saw the sequel to The Quiet Place, but I do want to see it.
It was good.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, it's very solid. I maybe I'm just a hardened horror fan now. Not really. I don't watch like the actual horror.
Have you seen Hereditary, Matt?
No, and I feel like if I did watch that, it'd be horrifying.
Well, it's not. It's a fantastic movie, is why I'm recommending it. It's like. It's my favorite horror film, I think. It's so freaking good. So amazingly shot, amazingly acted. It's got like really good actors in it. Mm-hmm. I recommend it. And it's not as much a jump scare type movie as it is just...
I hate jump scares. What I love is like really cool monsters and then the freaky nature of those monsters trying to take out the people, right? That's what I like.
Yeah, so there isn't really jump scares in Hereditary. There's very creepy stuff, but it's not like, blah, in your face and you're like,
it's
okay.
so cheap. I hate it.
It's super cheap, I will give... a little bit of leeway to the creative stuff where like what was the there's like some weird Korean ones where like the girl sees something moving under her covers and she like opens the covers and the creature's like right there and like pulls her and, like that kind of stuff. It's like a jump scare, but I'm like, that's creative at least.
You at least know it's coming.
Yeah, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna have nightmares for like 10 years now. It's a very effective scene, but
what's that underneath my oh, it's my leg. Oh
yeah, but the normal like, I shut the cabinet and the guy's behind the cabinet or whatever. I'm like,
every single time.
Yeah.
Every
Let
time.
me just close the medicine cabinet mirror, and now that the mirror has been adjusted, we see the reflection of the guy behind me.
Oh my god! Who could have seen this coming?
It's fun if you do it campy, but there's only so much campy horror I can take at that point.
One of my favorites is the Cabin in the Woods. Because of how over the top and it was basically making fun of the genre, but also making it a really fun horror movie.
Yeah, I liked their version of what a mermaid was.
Yeah, horrifying.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god. Yeah, the mermaid's a horror mermaid. There was I want to Google the name of it, but it's called like something. It's in Australia, and it's these kids. It's like high school kids, and one of them has this weird like mummified hand that they stole from their uncle or some crap like that. I don't know.
Okay.
And it's like they're doing this college party thing where they're like, okay, if you say these words, and it's like something like take me or something like that, maybe it's come to me. I think that's the name of the movie, and I forgot what the words are, but while holding the hand, it'll basically allow you to sort of speak to the dead people around you, which is, it's kind of a novel concept, but I thought the movie was done really well, and it's got kind of a fun little twist at the end that I was really impressed with. And nice. I will find out
I was gonna say I'd maybe check it out, but I can't if I don't know the name of it.
Horror movie and Talk to Me. There we go. Thank you, Google, for generating my stupid query. Yeah, Talk to Me.
When did it come out?
2022. It's not that old.
Okay. All right.
That one's good. I enjoyed that.
Got a good rating on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm. That one's a little more jump scary. It's not over the top, but if you're going to watch one horror movie, Hereditary And then the same director did Midsummer, which I also really liked.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard good things with that director.
Yeah.
Apparently, didn't they make Midsummer just simply because they wanted it to be a horror but bright?
I don't know. I don't know what the rationale, what he wanted to do, but yeah, he made a horrifying movie that happens in Sweden when the sun never sets. So it's always bright out.
Always bright, which is such a great concept.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of it has some vibes of like The Wicker Man, which is it's been remade a whole bunch of times, and the more memey version is the Nick Cage version.
Not the bees.
But it's basically going to like a remote colony of people who are technically within the government of some country.
Not a cult.
But they're removed enough where they can kind of set their own laws and make a cult.
Not
and
a
then,
cult, though.
Yeah.
It's a cult.
And then you get there and you're like, wait, what are we doing? What kind of crazy ancient rituals are you guys? Like, what gods are you worshiping? Oh, this is freaky. Yeah. So it's a good time. I recommend Midsummer too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hereditary though, man. Number one horror movie.
Number one.
Fantastic. So good.
Okay.
Go watch it. What else did we I played a fishing game. This podcast, woo, it's on fire right now.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. We're going to talk about a fishing game. I mean,
I would love
to your credit level. We are a couple days early for recording, so not as much has happened in since the last time we recorded. It's
true. I would have had a day or two to play something.
You would have had a couple more days, yes.
But I did play a fishing game for a sponsored video.
How was it?
And I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to.
What was it called?
So, do you know? You've probably played The Hunter: Call of the Wild.
I haven't. No.
Do you know what it is?
Yep.
Okay. Pretty well-known hunting game. Like, if you played a hunting game, you've probably played The Hunter: Call of the Wild. It's the Call of Duty of hunting games.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how they describe themselves. Just kidding. So this one is called Call of the Wild: The Angler. So you're just fishing, but I've never played a fishing game that was like open world, where it's just like, hey, get in a Jeep and drive to your fishing spot, or get in a boat, go drive to the pier, collect your mission from the little mission board on the pier, get in the boat, and then like drive the boat down a lake in this like beautiful South African preserve, cast your line. There'll be like other players fishing too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's multiplayer. It's just funny because I don't think I've played a fishing game since like, I don't know, Bass
I have
Master
never
on
played a
Xbox.
fishing game before. Not one that was specifically just fishing.
Yeah, the only time I did it was like one of the Bass Master type games, and it was like on Xbox in college because my roommate was into it, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll try this, and it was fine. Like, I wasn't over the moon about it, but I was like, damn, fishing games have stepped up their game. This is like the Assassin's Creed of fishing games.
What was the gameplay loop?
So you can rank up, you get levels and experience, and yeah, the size of the fish that you catch will give you more XP, and there'll be a little mission board. So it'll be like, hey, if you can catch silver rank fish with this type of lure and float and combination here, you'll complete the mission. So it does teach you actually about the different types of lures and techniques you would need to catch different types of fish, because it's part of the mission requirement, which I thought was kind of neat, because I was like, I don't know anything about fishing, but the game is telling me some stuff about it. So I know a little bit about fishing now, Matt.
Nice. You could go out and be the next angler champion.
Yeah. Well, you know what I thought about is like, there's a lot of games I really like that have fishing as a mechanic in it. Like,
there's a ton of them.
Yeah, like almost every RPG, like, let's just give them a fishing pole, and if they get bored, they can go fishing.
Yeah.
And like, it is a nice thing to just add into a game.
I've never really been into it.
No. Did you do fishing in, what was that Amazon MMO, the New World?
Oh, New World. A little bit. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I've never really engaged with it though.
Fair enough.
Maybe I'll play that tonight. I think I got one on Epic. Let me see.
I think mining in space games is basically the fishing of space games.
I mean, it pretty much is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Call of the Wild: The Angler.
Oh, you have it?
It's free on Epic.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can learn some fishing, Matt.
Maybe I could become a master fisherman. Fishman? I feel like that's a little bit different than a fisherman.
Merman. Part man, part
there we
fish.
go. When did this come out? It came out in 2022. Was there a new version or something that you...
Yeah, the new DLC.
Oh, it was DLC.
South African Preserve, man.
Gotcha. Yeah, there it is. South African Reserve. There's dinosaurs?
There's a dinosaur museum that you can go to if you like.
I was like...
Yeah, it's an open world game, so you can literally, like, if you're not in the mood to fish at one moment, you can go on a museum tour of dinosaurs. And you know what I learned, Matt? I learned that the Triceratops, because they have those little speaker things by the dinosaurs when you go past, and they teach you facts. The Triceratops, despite it, having the name Triceratops, meaning for its 3 horns, its nose horn is actually not made out of the same stuff its 2 big horns are made out of. It's actually made out of like more fingernail type material. It would not be good in a fight. So they think it was used for something else. I don't know.
Probably mating. I don't know how.
Scratching the ass of another Triceratops.
Yeah, who knows?
But you know what? You come on this podcast, you learn stuff.
Yeah, you learn half of this stuff. You don't know why it's okay. Yeah, I got you.
You know that it wasn't, so that they know it wasn't meant for fighting because it wouldn't have been strong enough for combat. So the 2 big horns on the Triceratops are combat stabbing horns, and then the nose one is
they're not like a rhino.
Yeah, if a T-Rex needs his balls scratched, then you use the nose.
Why that? Why did you have to go to there?
Well, I don't know. It could be a long neck. Okay. Yeah, whatever. But long neck needs its balls scratched. Yeah. So now you know. When are we going to get some good dino games? There's a couple dino games that are in development now, but they look like they could either be amazing or awful. I don't think it's going to be...
There's that dino survival game where you like are trying to not die to the dinos that was shown off maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was actually called.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. And then it's got some weird like Aztec temple stuff mixed in, and you're like...
Of course it does.
I don't know what's happening in this game. Is it Aztecs or is it dinosaurs? What? Pick one, It's both.
You can have both. Why not?
I guess. Yeah. Why not? I'd get chased by a velociraptor around an Aztec temple. It feels right.
I mean, I played the forest, and that, without getting to spoilers, it goes all over the place. So
yeah. I'm still I cannot believe how funny would it. I mean, it wouldn't be funny. I don't mean to say funny, but like the Marcus Leto studio that was shut down recently that was working on Battlefield, like what if his idea was the Dino Field game,
Oh, Dino, bro. I remember when that was, people legitimately thought there was going to be a Battlefield Dino game.
I still legitimately want a Battlefield Dino game. I'm upset that they haven't made it. It's the ultimate single player opportunity for them to imagine a co-op dinosaur survival game where like...
Yeah, of course I can. Because, I mean, or you could just make it Helldivers, but dinos in Battlefield.
There you go. Win-win. Like, I mean...
just $1 billion idea. Well, hopefully more than $1 million idea. But here's your money. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, you can have it. I'm relinquishing my rights from the
I don't
Dino
think that's how that works.
co-op.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'd play it. I'd do it.
You would play it, though, wouldn't you?
I would.
You actually would. They should make it. I'm advocating for this. I know people think I'm joking.
I mean, there was that Exoprimal game that came out, which was a mixed bag of ideas.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that now. Everybody was playing that for like a minute.
A day.
1 second. And I was like...
The progression, it was cool, but the way the progression worked is that if you queued up and someone wasn't as far as you in the main story, you kept playing the early missions. So you never were able to actually progress your story and like actually play different levels, because if someone was new to the game and they were in your queue and they were queued up with you, anyone, even the enemy team, you only played on the early beginning missions. It hurt.
That is such a like incredibly stupid oversight to make.
Yeah. Oh, it's real bad.
Yeah. What's funny is that is 99% of game development is trying to think of edge case scenarios for everything, where you're just like, okay, this is what I want this to do. And then you have to sit there for a second and go, okay, well, how can we break this? What would happen if this crazy thing? But that one is not even edge case. That's just like, what if we all joined up and played together, but somebody wasn't 30 hours into the game like the rest of us? Oh, then it's going to be horrible and break everything. Okay. I wouldn't call that an edge case. I call that an every single game case, guys. Like, figure that one out. Because they had to have fixed all the other billions of edge case scenarios for that game. To miss the obvious one is very odd. It is odd. Because the problem with that title was it just didn't have enough variety in the levels, because you were just playing the same levels. And even if you did have the opportunity to play more of the other diverse levels, it was still quite low. It was, it needed more time. Cool concept, though. One day we're going to have an epic dino game. You know what game I want to see remastered or re-envisioned? Did you Dark Age of Camelot? Oh, sorry. I'd be down for that one, actually. That would be cool. But Rampage. Do you remember the old Rampage games where 2D really. You play like a giant werewolf or a King Kong type guy? Yeah. Rampage. I remember those. Chomping buildings, and the military comes after you, and you start throwing helicopters into buildings and blowing up cities. That was forever ago. Yeah, I'm like, do that, but like with the Unreal Engine 5 city demo map, and just like King Kong rip that thing apart. Like, that'd be dope. It would be. Do you think it would, do you think there'd be enough game there long term? I know exactly why nobody's making that, because it's incredibly technically challenging. And how good is the gameplay loop? Like, how long is it going to engage you? Yeah, it's it'd be fun for like an hour until you've destroyed the entire city. And now you're like, now what? I destroyed New York. Now I destroy San Francisco. Then I destroy Tokyo. Like, I mean, it's all the same thing, right? I don't know. But so I think you just got to the crux of the issue. We need it to become cheap enough to make it for an indie dev to make that game, and then Rampage Apocalypse or whatever you want to call it. I'm down. I'd play it. Yeah. I don't know if I'd play it for very long, but I'd do it. Yeah. Well, should we start wrapping up the pod, the old Potteroonie? Let's wrap it up. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for dropping by. Don't forget, we have a Patreon where you can come watch our podcast live. We've got 300 people watching right now. And and don't laugh, Matt. And we appreciate your support. There's a link in the video description. You can not only watch it live, but after we're done here, we go on to all kinds of crazy stuff just for the live audience. Matt and I let loose. We kick off our shoes. We tell it how it really is, man. Talk about Matimio's love life and the progress we're making with his mail order bride and all that stuff. And which is where the Patreon funds are going. So thank you guys all very much for that. And now Matt's going to leave you with some words of wisdom. My words of wisdom this week are: get off of social media, kids. It's not worth it. Put it down. You're not having fun. You're just getting the dopamine drip. Trust me. Go read a book. But make sure you subscribe and like and notification bell our podcast. Yes, thank you. Do that. Yeah. But otherwise, all other social media, get away from that. Yes. It's terrible. It's not good for you. I don't really see like YouTube. I mean, it is kind of social media, but I don't see. Yeah, because it's the long format thing. They're trying to YouTube shortify it, but I don't know if that's fully taken over yet. We're still here, kind of. All right. Thanks for the good advice, Matt. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace out. Take care.